welcome back to Cross My Heart Stitching. This is my YouTube channel. My name's Tori. And on this channel, we talk all things markets, crochet, and yarn. So I'm happy that you're here. This is like my fourth video, and it's been a lot of fun. A lot of people told me to start a YouTube and that it was fun and this is the way to go. And I've been really nervous about it. So the reaction and the comments and the subscribers and everything has been really cool, and I'm kind of getting used to talking to myself, but not quite used to looking at the camera. So I am working on it, guys. I'm working on it. So it's Thursday. You have my shower hair, which you'll probably get pretty often because usually when I shower, I occupy them with something, and then that gives me a few more minutes to come film a video. So it is Thursday. This market was the past Sunday, and the video will drop Friday. So you're watching this Friday or after. So, Friday, November, is it Friday? No, Friday, November 14th. Today's the 13th. It's my daughter's birthday. It's been a while since, not a while, it's not that long, but I've just struggled with how to recap this market because it was very slow. I'll tell you right now. I'm not going to bury the lead or anything. It was a slow market. I kind of expected it to be, but it was slower than I expected. And the imposter syndrome has kicked in because I'm like, oh, I have market experience. Let's talk about markets. And then I'm like, wow, this was a really bad market, for me. So I just wasn't quite sure how to do it, but I decided that honesty is the best. And honestly, if I was new to markets and I had this market, I'd probably be excited because I didn't do horrible. I made far more than my booth fee back. Technically I made what I do my goals as, but it was just a lot less than I'm used to. But if this is my first market, I'd be okay with it. And also, if this was my first market season and it was a poor market, I might be bummed out. But honestly, I had fun. It was a beautiful day, and my daughters were with me. I was hanging out with my dad, so it was okay. So I took a little bit of video. It's not very long, but I'll insert that now, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it. Good morning. It's market day. It is 8 in the morning. I'm of course off to a late start, but I am excited to take you along with me to the first market. I'll be vlogging. This is a small town market. It's the town I grew up in. And this is just a little one. I think the vendor fee was $15 plus an item donated for the season. And I did 2 markets. So we'll say it's a $25 booth fee. And I don't anticipate it being a super busy show, but I think it'll be fun. And, you'll get to meet my dad, who you've heard about already. And I've got both my girls with me because they want to be my big helpers today. So it's going to be a fun day. It's actually not super cold for a fall New England day. It's supposed to get to almost 60 degrees, which I'm really excited about. Hopefully I'll just be able to wear my hoodie and call it good. So I'm in line at Dunks right now. I'm gonna grab I'm a refresher girl, and probably some wake up wraps or something. And then we'll head over and get set up. All right, I'm gonna do a little booth tour. I'm probably gonna do a voiceover for it because I'm just embarrassed about talking loud. So let's do a little booth tour. All right, starting over in the corner with this plant stand that I set up with some Christmas items and book buddies to draw people in. Then I did an L setup. I had the 4-foot table with my crates and book buddies because those are always a good seller, especially at Christmas markets and also modern mangers. In the corner is the hen house, and then ducks and loaf kittens in the market stand. Hatchers along the front because that's where people check out. And then when I got to market, realized I'd forgotten my hooks, so my pegboard's a little bare, but I did put my gingerbread men, because I also forgot that display, as well as the dachshunds up there, and had my Christmas tree with ornaments on it. And then, yeah, here's a kind of a quick view of the booth. All right, it's a little slow, so I'm going to introduce you to my dad, because everyone thinks it's so cool that I crochet with my dad.
Oh, hi.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Dad.
What do you have?
I have a little teacup with a little stress ball in it, which actually works because I'm always stressed right now.
Thanks for learning to crochet for me, Dad.
You're welcome.
All right, there's about 5-10 minutes left. It's been a pretty slow market. I've sold a few book buddies, a few things like that, but mostly it's been slow. I'm hoping it's not an omen for how the rest of the holiday season's gonna go, but it is about what I expected. Like I said, it was a smaller market. And I'm gonna start wrapping up pretty soon, and then probably later this week I will get to kind of like a market roundup, and I'll tell you exactly what sold and everything like that. And I'll just show you the booth here. So you can see here that it was a slow day, not much sold. I replaced the book buddies that sold, did a restock. This was even before my silkies sold. So everything pretty much looks the same, except that I found hooks, so it was able to look a bit more full. Look at that. Mr. and Mrs. Mallard, just like one of my favorite book buddies. They must be looking for the island to lay their eggs. On that note, check out how beautiful this lake is. Kind of wish there had been more leaves on the trees, but it's pretty nice, right near the venue. Okay, yeah, so that's the footage that I got from my market. You got to meet my dad, and he'll be around a lot more for the market vlogs especially, but maybe we'll sneak him in for a crochet one here and there. So yeah, I guess what people like to know is like what sold, how much I sold it for, and I did like timestamp things this time. I can't guarantee that that's something that I'll be able to do for everyone, because some markets are busier than others and I barely have time sometimes at markets to write stuff down. This time I could have written an in-depth description of what I sold because it was slow as sin. This market was in the town I grew up in, very small town, like no stoplights but lots of Dunkin' Donuts, and because I am from Massachusetts. And this is like, there were probably a dozen vendors, if that. So I knew it was going to be slow. And I had done, this was their like holiday market, the last one. I had done another one in June, I don't know. Sometime in the summer I had done one. The booth fee is like $15, I think. And then, so it's not like it's an expensive market. It's not like I was out a lot, and it's not far from where I live. So it was just for fun, and I did sell some stuff, so I'll take it. So usually what I say is I take my market fee, so in this case it's $15, and then I multiply that by 5 to 10 depending on the length of the market. And that's kind of like the goal for how much I want to make. So this market in particular, like I said, it was $15, which means that the high end of my goal would be $150. That's 10 times the market fee, or the booth fee. I made like $400 at the one in the summer. So I did have my goal a little higher, but it's okay. So the market started at 9 o'clock in the morning. I got there kind of late because I had both girls with me, and I'm always just running late. It's just who I am. But so I got there kind of late, but we did get set up by 9, and you saw my booth set up. I was pretty happy with that. I think it was good. It drew people in with the book buddies and the Christmas things, and then I like to have popular items kind of in front of me so that when people go to check out, if they like see one, they're like, oh, I kind of want this too. So I usually have like hatching chicks in front of where I'm standing for checkout, which I did. So the market started at 9, and my first sale was at 10:10. So over an hour into the market, and I hadn't sold anything. But at 10 o'clock, I sold an orange loaf cat. It had the white face. She said it didn't look anything like her cat, but she really liked the white face. So that was at 10:10, and it was $15. And then at 10:36, I sold a mini dachshund. I think I have a picture. If not, it's like a little tiny dachshund. I can get a picture from the pattern, but my dad actually made it. And it was to a woman who, she said that her dog was sad because it looked like her dog was a dachshund, and was sad that she couldn't come, so she bought it for her dog, which was cute. So that was $10. And then at 10:46, I sold a Diddy Dex Dragon in red that my dad also made, and a Mushy Pop from Cable and Canvas, like the little fidget toy. So those were together. I sold the dragon for $22. So we sold those last year for $20, the Diddy Dex Dragons. This one I sold for $22. She didn't even care. So I think next time, maybe like at my later next markets, I might up the price to $25 on those, because they are popular. They moved so fast last year. We ran out in like an hour at our Christmas show. So I think I'm going to up those to $25. But I sold it for $22, and the Mushy Pop I sell for $8, so that was a $30 transaction. And then at 10:49, the Grinch Book Buddy with the little Smidge Squad Grinch sold. And this was a couple, they were getting it for, I don't know, probably their grandchild. They said he was really young. So they liked that it had the embroidered eyes, and then it was like a cute little holdable thing. So that particular Book Buddy sold for $30. And then, so that was my busiest hour from like 10 to 11. I had 4 transactions, and then didn't make another sale till 12:20. So 10:49 to 12:20. And I sold a hatching chick for $20. Then at 12:30, I sold a second mini dachshund for $10. Those were the only 2 we had. They both sold. It's funny because a few markets ago, in the same town actually, this guy came up and told us, you guys should make some dachshunds. Those would sell really well. And I was kind of like, okay, are people into dachshunds? But apparently they are, because both of the dachshunds we had sold. So that was at 12:30, sold for $10. At 12:45, I sold my second Book Buddy. It was a Yeti Book Buddy. It's the How to Catch a Yeti book, and the Yeti, I can't remember the name of the pattern, but it's by Loved Knots. I'll link it in the description, of course, and I'll put a picture over there of the Book Buddy. And that sold for $35. That one I was really excited because it was one of my favorite makes. I think it's like so beautiful. And they got it for their nephew. I was a couple, and they were like visiting town, I think. And they were super excited about it. They had like 3 different Book Buddies, and they were trying to like figure out what to get him. And he was like under 3, I think. So my daughters kind of chimed in, and we all talked about the book and why I think my oldest said that was her favorite of the Book Buddies that we had available, and my 4-year-old concurred, and it was good. They helped me sell the Book Buddy. So I sold that for $35. And then the last sale of the day was at 12:59. The market ended at 1. I was already starting to pack up because very slow day. And I sold 2 of the Silky Chickens. So she got a black one and a white one. She got the pair. And so they were $15 each, so $30. So yeah, not a ton of sales. That's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 8 transactions, which is not a lot at all, for me. But it was a total of $180. That is just the base price. I do charge tax, but I don't include that in my total because that's not money that I get in my pocket. So it was $180. So like I said, I feel like I don't want to like poo-poo it and say that like, oh, $180 isn't a lot. Because especially when I first started, like making my booth fee back was like the ultimate goal. So I know like that, and it's $200. Like I'll take it. It's almost $200. I'll take it. I do pay my dad out a little bit, so that's fine. But it was $180 minus a $15 booth fee, so $165. Not bad. And still more than 10 times the booth fee. And I think the reason that I'm like, I have you here. The reason we've been talking a lot about like pricing and markets in some of the market groups that I'm in. And a big reason, like I've seen people that say like, oh, I want to make $100 a market, $100 an hour at this market or whatever. And I think like it's great to have like different goals. The reason that I base it on the market fee is because I do think it makes a difference. Like, of course, I have had free markets that I've done well at. One of my best markets ever for a long time, it was my highest market, was a free one I did 3 years ago. It was like this free market and I made like $1,300, $1,200. And I didn't pay anything for it. And I had a small setup and the people just like showed up and it was at my parents' campground where they spend their summer and people were just like buying my stuff. It was awesome. But that's an outlier. Most of the time, if I have a low market fee, then I expect that there's going to be lower turnout, less people. And this is going beyond market recap. But the reason for this is because the way I look at it, that market fee is like I'm paying the organizers for a service. So if I'm only paying them $10, $15, I expect a $10, $15 market. I don't expect like them to have done a ton of advertising for free. I don't expect it to be like a super fancy venue. I expect less from paying less money. And I think that's kind of like you get what you pay for, right? So when I do a market and it's $15, I think saying 10 times, yeah, that's reasonable. And I mean, case in point, right? Like this was a slower market for me, but I did make back 10 times my booth fee. Now, if I pay $250, which I did for my 3-day market that I did in August, which I wish I had done a vlog for, I also expect to make 10 times my booth fee back, which I did. But because I've paid a lot more money, I expect there to be more advertising. I expect there to be more vendors because like the number of vendors that are at a market also helps bring in people. I know for me, I blast it out there on social media. I tell all my friends and I have people show up for me at every market. That like if it's my family comes, they shop. My friends come, they'll shop. I shop. I've had people come and say, oh, I saw that you were going to be here on, Facebook or on Instagram. So I came. Like those are shoppers for other vendors too. So every other vendor at the market equals more foot traffic for you. So if I'm paying a lot of money, I expect there to be a lot of vendors. I expect there to be good advertising because I'm paying the organizer for that service so that I have a good market. I don't know. I'm on a little bit of a rant right now, a little bit of a offshoot from this discussion of like the market recap. But, and again, I'm not saying like sometimes you'll pay, like I've paid for markets where it was kind of an expensive vendor fee and it didn't go over well. And I'll be honest, I complain about it because it's not like, not to say it's definitely the organizer's fault. Like sometimes people just aren't shopping, but there are things that they can do and I'm paying them for that service. Just like I expect to give people the best product I can because they're paying me for a good that I made. So back to this market. It was a $15 booth fee. I was only there from 9 to 1. So that's 4 hours. And I made 10 times my booth fee. So I'm not like, I'm disappointed because it was slow. So I'm like, oh, I get to tell you about this slow market. But I'm actually not super disappointed with how much I made just because it's kind of in the range that I would expect. If I had paid a lot of money, then yeah, I'd be upset. But yeah, 12 vendors, like there were about a dozen vendors and it was a low booth fee and I had a slow day. So yeah, that's the market recap. I don't really know what else to say. Let me know if you liked it. Like I said, I did the format with the timestamps just because it was a slow market, so I wanted to kind of show that, but I probably won't do that always. But you can let me know if you liked it. Let me know how you like it presented. I didn't share like bestsellers or anything because I didn't sell that much. But you might notice if you've watched my first video. So another thing about this, sorry, we're not done. When I agreed to this market, there is one other crocheter there who has done this event for like years. So when I reached out to them about doing this and I said, hey, like, they basically were like, yeah, we'd love to have you there, but we do have another crocheter. So I agreed not to sell bees or octopus. So I did not bring any bees, which I don't really make bees anymore. And I didn't bring any octopus, even like the drift octopus, even though that's not what this other crocheter has. She has more like the jellyfish style, like the Stitch Sisters Co. one that I showed in my first video. But I didn't bring any octopus. So taking it back, you'll notice if you go back and listen, I sold a loaf kitty, I sold book buddies, I sold a hatching chick, and I sold chickens. So these are all things that were in my first video as bestsellers. And even though it was a slow market, the ones that I brought from my list sold. I sold one of each of them from my list of bestsellers. I didn't have any Fable friends. I didn't have any of the mini chubby buddies that I often bring, just because I had kind of sold out of those at the 3-day market, and I haven't replenished the stock very well. So I'm working on it. Yeah, I just to note, my bestsellers are still my bestsellers, and even at a slow market, those are the things that sell. So go check out that video if you haven't, and check out those bestsellers because they consistently do well for me even when I don't have the best day. I think we're at the end. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this was helpful. Like I was saying before I went off on a tangent, go ahead and drop a comment if you have any questions or any ideas about the format or what you'd like to hear in a market recap. I don't really know, like, do you want to know more about pricing? I know you want more setup details. I've seen a few people say that. So you'll briefly see my setup in that, like I briefly showed my setup, but I can do it more in depth. But when it comes to like recapping a market, yeah, let me know if there's anything else you want to see, whether it's like how many of each item sold on a busier day or, yeah, I don't know. Share your thoughts. I love hearing what you think of the video and what kind of questions you have and trying to answer them to the best of my ability. So if you made it this far, let's drop a, why don't you drop a book emoji, since my book buddies, I sold 2 of them and I've got book buddies on the brain because I'm working on a video for that. So drop a book emoji if you made it this far, and don't forget to like the video, give me a comment, and subscribe if this is interesting to you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble, and I hope that this is as fun for you as it is for me. And I'll catch you on the next one.